We're back at the beach and we're going to do another beach talk. And this time we're going to talk about the saying, be wild or stay wild or rewild, that type of thing.
Yeah, you see these phrases all over the place on hats, t-shirts, stickers. Be wild, stay wild, into the wild, back to the wild. Everything's wild.
Yeah, there's a lot of different sayings like that, and they're so popular. Undoubtedly, you have something in your mind about what it means to you. And for me, it's about the connection with nature, kind of getting out of the societal things and human-made things and getting back to nature. Like we're at the ocean now, basically the world's largest wilderness out there, Pacific Ocean, the world's largest ocean. And spending time in the woods, doing all that type of thing. We like to immerse ourselves in it, be out there, just connecting with it, not to get too esoteric or metaphysical, but just in the practical ways, just being reminded of how we are connected to those things and what they mean to us, and how that all this other stuff didn't exist, that'd be all there would be. And so I've even, I'm foraging a lot when I'm out there. I mean, just snacking and everything. I'm not like harvesting large amounts or anything, but I love to snack out there in the wilderness.
Yeah, so for us, being able to walk is the way that we connect, and walking on the beach, in the woods, hiking, being out in nature among the wildlife. It's always so exciting to see some kind of animal when you're walking along and just get a little glimpse into their world. So that's how we kind of be wild and stay wild.
Yeah, so a way that I've come up with to think about this, maybe to generate some mental thinking on the topic, is to imagine there was an EMP, which is an electromagnetic pulse. Let's say that maybe there's a huge solar event that causes this, which in turn would, let's say, wipe out all electronics and electrical things like that. So instantly there's no social media, there's no movies, Hollywood, that type of thing. All of that's gone. All the big power players with all the money and everything basically amount to nothing at that point. And so things go hyper primitive.
Yeah,
you know?
Very fast.
So let's assume that there's no violence or anything like that. Everybody's getting along. That's not going to be the case. If something like that happened, there would be mass chaos. But let's just assume that everything's okay. People are leaving others alone. What would be important to you at that point, other than your personal protection and safety, because that's out of the thought thing here, the thought process? For me, it's relationships and the ability to survive and keep those around me that I'm caring for surviving. So I mean, just try to imagine that, putting yourself in the shoes where you're in a situation that the whole grid's down, everything's went primitive again. What would you do? How would you connect with your surroundings, and what would become important to you, or more to the forefront?
Yeah, I read a really, really great book about this. It was a novel, but it kind of came at it with a lot of good scientific fact-based knowledge, but in a story form. We'll put a link in the video description for that, because it was just about this topic and what could potentially happen. Yeah,
I remember when you were reading that, it was very gripping and intense, and you were very involved in it. And I could remember her saying that she wished I would be right with her at the same point in the book and that type of thing, that it was just such a neat thing to kind of imagine that happening, because like Susan said, it's done in a scientific way, so it lends credibility to the idea of it actually taking place, and it also is extremely thought-provoking about where would you be if there were no modern medicine and modern supplies and modern transportation and communication and all that type of stuff. But anyway, bringing it all back around, that can help you in your mind make that connection to, you know, where are you with being wild and staying wild and rewilding and that type of thing.
Yeah, there's even a syndrome, like call it nature deficit syndrome, that kind of looks at what the effects on humans are of not being connected to nature and to the earth. And so it's something to think about and look into also.
Yeah, there's a lot of things on that topic, the nature deficit disorder and that type of thing. It's a real thing that happens to people from being so disconnected, and it's largely affects children, as you can imagine. Some kids that are born now may never, have those that exposure and stuff to primitive ways or the wilderness or the wild things around them, and so it's interesting to look into all that. Well, the tide's coming in. High tide is rapidly approaching. We're going to go ahead and end this video. We'd love to read in the comments what you think about the saying, rewild, be wild, stay wild, that type of thing.
And please remember to share, subscribe, and click on that little notification bell.
Thanks for watching. You got change for $1?
Why?
I just want change for $1.
What do you need?
4 quarters.
Okay.
All right. Here's your $1.
Here's your quarters.